What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue, and today we're going on a nautical adventure. That's right, I am an outlaw rogue main, so traveling the seas is naturally what I do best. And what better thing to do than to take a bunch of fresh level 1 characters out to the new leveling zone coming with pre-patch, Exile's Reach. So climb on board the SS Totally Not Gonna Sink, and sign this waiver here, and make sure to bring your water wiggies. Okay, let's go. So leveling is going through some very big changes with the coming of the Shadowlands pre-patch. Not only is there going to be a level squish, reducing the maximum character level from 120 down to level 60, there will also be numerous ways you can level through World of Warcraft. For any existing players, you'll be able to choose between the normal leveling experience you're used to, the new Chromie Time feature, or the brand new Exile's Reach. If you're a brand new player to the game, you won't have an option on this choice and will be sent on a boat to Exile's Reach. Oh, and as a quick hello and thank you, I have a new patron to welcome to the Super Shiba Squad tier of my Patreon. Thank you so much, Skeleton, for your generosity and interest in helping support the channel like this. I truly appreciate that and will make sure to do my best to keep improving the quality of all future videos on the channel. As a forewarning, if you're choosing to make an allied race, a demon hunter, or a death knight, you will not be able to partake in Exile's Reach, as all allied race characters start at level 10, whereas demon hunters and death knights start at level 8. Unless you make an allied race death knight and then you're level 10. That gets really confusing. I'm not sure why they aren't just all level 8 or level 10 or one or the other. I don't know. Anyways, once you choose your class and customize your character to your liking, you'll end up on my favorite, most seaworthy vessel of the fleet, the SS Totally Not Gonna Sink. As a brief synopsis of the plot on Exile's Reach, you are part of a search and rescue team that is looking for a prior expedition that has gone missing, so your goal is to find them and bring them home safely. The Exile's Reach experience is very much geared towards new players to MMO and WoW in general, so it'll quite literally walk you through the earliest actions your class can perform. For rogues as an example, this starts as simple as showing you how to use Sinister Strike on a stationary target dummy, and then sparring with a moving non-player character to show how positioning requirements affect your attacks. Oh, and yeah, the weather in this part of the ocean can get a little rough, but don't worry, the SS Totally Not Gonna Sink is my most capable, most seaworthy. Oh. Well, I guess Lady Karma wasn't amused by my choice in naming conventions. Well, welcome to Exile's Reach, and your first task is going to be learning how to kill and loot NPCs for quest items. From what I can tell, the entire questing zone should be identical for both Alliance and Horde characters, with just the characters and dialogue being slightly tweaked around and just really flavor changes if there are any. As returning players will notice, the Murlocs we are tasked to defeat are not immediately hostile, as shown by the yellow health bar, which is a safe and smart introduction to enemy NPCs for new players. Once we've defeated enough Murlocs to collect 6 first aid kits and turn them in for the quest, we'll then use some of those first aid kits we were just gathering to heal up some injured NPCs that crash landed with us, showing another common style of quests new players will get acclimated to seeing in future content. Using the first aid kits on your allies is as simple as clicking on the first aid kit icon in your quest log on the right hand side of your screen and then clicking on the NPC you want to use it on. After healing up a few of your allies, we'll venture through the Murloc camp and find one of the expedition members we were searching for. And they're quite literally starving to death, so that's just great. So we'll be doing another kill and collect quest for meat and then interacting with the cooking fire here by right-clicking it to complete the quest and feeding your emaciated comrade. You'll then learn that a member of the prior expedition is the son and or daughter of your commanding officer and that they've been captured by quillboars, these pointy little pigmen things. This bit of story changes merely in flavor text based on if you're Alliance or Horde, as if you're Alliance it'll be a son and if you're Horde it's a daughter. But yeah, you'll then spar with this NPC commanding officer, whom will give you some instructions on how to use functional elements of your class. As our test example being a rogue, she explains we need to use Sinister Strike to generate combo points, which are then used to cast Eviscerate on her several times. Once you've completed this little combat interaction, you'll be fully prepared to commit mass genocide on everything in your way, supposedly. Before we do that though, you'll probably notice a little treasure chest on your minimap. This is a bit of a side errand, but it shows you that sometimes going off the beaten path might be worth your while, as this reward will give you a number of sellable items and potentially some gear and other goodies. Back on the track of the quest chain though, we'll progress up the hill and meet up with some more surviving members of the Lost Expedition. They'll give you a quest to kill 7 quillboars as well as their leader, Geolord Grekog. While venturing into the Quillboar Briar Patch zone, you might notice a big yellow star on your map. For those new to the game, these are used to mark a rare spawn enemy, which when you target them will have a silver dragon around the border of their character portrait. They will generally offer unique rewards and treasures of many types, including items, gear, and toys or mounts as well. While they're not necessary to kill, it will often be worth your while to do so. Once you've defeated 7 Quillboar and Geolord Grekog, you'll proceed up this hill out of the Quillboar Briar Patch and meet up with more of your surviving expedition members. You'll then find a large mass of undead forces surrounding your commanding officer's child, whom you're now going to save. This part varies a bit based on the faction, but more or less you'll use some high-tech gadget to either blow up or run over the hordes of the undead, which is pretty amusing and fun. The horde will basically rain death from above with a laser gun, and the Alliance will ride a supersized boar to trample them all. Either way, a fun little addition and the first example of a vehicle-oriented quest, where you're not directly in control of your character or you're in control of a vehicle that you operate to do things. Upon slaying the undead forces, you'll defeat an ogre necromancer and free your commanding officer's child from captivity. Upon their rescue, it is revealed that a group of ogres are attempting to drain the life forces of as many victims as possible to resurrect a dragon to use against their enemies. So your primary goal is now to stop these rituals that are being used to absorb life force from your lost comrades. This little base camp here will be your first example of a quest hub in the game, or a place you will find numerous quest paths to go along from. The development team behind this quest zone also did a good job of explaining purchasing and vendoring of items that you've picked up in your travels, as that is your next quest. This vendor will also give you access to a tabard, which is a cosmetic piece of equipment that you can wear if you choose to. After completing this, you'll most likely have 2, possibly 3 quests waiting for you. 2 of them will be to rescue members of your faction who have been captured, and one you might have access to early is a class-specific quest. For some classes, this will show up after you've completed the other 2 quests, but the rogue-specific one is available immediately. The class-specific ones will give you access to a new ability, such as Instant Poison as a rogue, or Execute as a warrior, but these quests will vary based on the class. For the course of this video though, we'll be looking at the things everyone will be doing regardless of class. So we'll start by saving the mage of our group from the Harpy's Roost, which is to the east of your base camp. Once you're here, you'll kill 10 harpies or their lackeys, such as the wolves in the surrounding area, and you will burn 5 harpy totems by interacting them, which again is via right-clicking. You'll find your captured mage stuck in an ogre ritual, which should be marked on your map as a blue highlighted circle, as these are used to mark the general area a quest will take place in. Upon attempting to free the mage, you'll be attacked by numerous waves of harpies. Once this is over, you'll turn in all 3 of your quests before heading back to your base camp. On the way back to your camp though, you might notice a yellow exclamation point on your map that seems out of the way. This is an example of a side quest, which isn't critical to the campaign you're currently on, but can sometimes prove useful. For example, this particular quest requires you to help free this elemental creature, and by doing so they will give you a large movement speed bonus buff for 10 minutes, which can certainly help speed up your progress in this adventure. Heading west past your base camp, you'll find a large underground spider's nest is the location of some more of your allies. You'll be tasked with freeing 5 of them from spider cocoons. This is a quest that will advance in progress on its own as you complete it, so once you free the 5 members from cocoons, you'll then be instructed to save a specific person at the bottom of the spider pit. Upon defeating their captor, you'll make your escape from the spider pit. Upon rescuing both of these crew members, your group will make their way up the hill to rescue the final captured member of your team. However, on the way you might notice a warning sign with a quest on the left-hand side of the road. This is a common type of group quest that generally involves facing a powerful opponent, so if you're playing solo you might have a little bit of trouble with this one depending on your class. For this quest, you'll be fighting a pretty strong bear, though if you're careful it is possible to do it solo, at least as a rogue from my own experience. Generally, group quests give a lot more experience or better rewards than ones you normally do solo, just as a heads up. Next, we'll be heading up the hill and sneaking our way into the Ogre Stronghold under an illusion spell. Once we find the last member of our missing group, we'll get a bunch of quests all at once, most of which you should be pretty familiar with by now. We'll be slaying 8 ogres and destroying 4 catapults. Both of these work the same way as the Harpy quests we did earlier, so you'll see areas marked on your map for the general locations they'll be in. A new quest, though, is killing particular ogres for their warding stones. There are 3 ogres we'll need to find, and they're each marked on the map. Once we defeat these 3 specific ogres and take their warding stones, and complete the other quests, we'll return to our trapped ally, freeing them, and commencing with the final quest of the zone. This is a little introduction to using the Group Finder feature, as you'll be entering either by yourself or in a party of 5 to the dungeon Dark Maul Citadel. This is one thing I feel the quest doesn't do a good job of explaining, as if it's meant for new players, they should really explain how to open the dungeon finder. To do this, you'll press the I key if you haven't changed any keybinds. Or you can click this little green eyeball thing, though my user interface is not the standard one that you'll be seeing if you're entirely new to the game or don't have any add-ons installed, just as a heads up. You'll queue up for Dark Maul Citadel by selecting this box here, choosing your available role, and entering the queue. Like I said, this can be completed solo or in a group, so you'll only wait for just a moment before the queue says to enter. Once inside, our more veteran players will notice this is actually just part of the High Maul raid from Warlords of Draenor. In this mini dungeon, you'll simply move through, killing any and all enemies in your way. There will be a couple boss encounters you face, with the first one being Tunk. Tunk has a frontal slam move called Seismic Slam, so you'll just want to make sure you move out of the way when he's getting ready to use it. This will also be your first dungeon loot drop, and the loot reward changes based on what class you are. You'll then make your way up a ramp to the final encounter with Gorgroth, the ogre necromancer who has been trying to reanimate a dragon. He'll raise some decaying corpses to attack you, and then we'll start the encounter. He has two simple moves, one of which being Shadow Bolt, which is a move you can interrupt as a rogue if you have the kick ability. There are many other classes with interrupt abilities as well, though the level you learn them at may vary slightly, or if you even have one at all. He also casts Unstable Shadows, which is a simple purple area of effect attack that you simply move out of the way of. Once he reaches about 50% health, he'll sacrifice his remaining life force to bring the dragon back to life. The dragon will have two moves, and they are Necrotic Breath and Wing Buffet. Necrotic Breath is a simple frontal cone effect with a very long cast time, so simply move out of the way of the front of it. Wing Buffet, on the other hand, cannot be avoided and is a full-range AoE attack, so you'll simply have to take the hit and then keep going. Unlike most dragons you'll see in the future though, this one does not swipe you with its tail if you stand behind it, which is something you might want to keep in mind in the future, as a lot of dragons have this as a feature. Once you've defeated the dragon, you can loot it and you have completed your first mini dungeon. You'll then talk with your commanding officer to leave the dungeon, and be greeted by more of your faction's forces coming to get you off of the Isle of Exile's reach. You'll take a flight to either Orgrimmar or Stormwind based on your faction, and voila, you're in the wide world of Azeroth. If you're new to the game, there will be a few simple introductions to things such as your riding training, which is where you'll learn how to use a mount to get around the world a little quicker, as well as a specialization role trainer for your class, and where you can set up your Hearthstone, which is kinda like a return portal to a familiar place. For first-time players as well, you'll be sent right into the Battle for Azeroth story campaign, as that was the most recent one prior to Shadowlands. If you know all that stuff already and have other characters, you can tell the guide that you already know your way around places, and you'll be able to start off your leveling adventure in whatever manner you choose to. I hope this little guide and introduction to Exile's Reach was entertaining and useful to you. If so, any likes, comments, or new subscribers are always fantastically appreciated. For those of you new around to my little corner of the YouTube algorithm, I'd like to welcome you to come check out the rest of the channel. I do new uploads every weekday on a variety of content, and with the Shadowlands pre-patch rolling in, I plan on covering quite a lot of things, with a pretty big emphasis on rogue-specific stuff. As always, I'd like to take this time to thank all of my regular viewers, commenters, subscribers, and especially my patrons for helping make these Shiba Shenanigans possible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.